Hi, I've got a quick demo for you today about how to use an external MIDI controller like the Arturia BeatStep to control the synthesizers on the Novation circuit and get some visual feedback from the Novation component editor, which makes it a lot more tactile. So what I've got in front of me is just a BeatStep here, which is connected to the circuit via MIDI. The BeatStep is not connected to the computer in any useful way. The circuit is connected to my laptop using USB, and you can see here that Components is able to see it. If I twiddle the knobs, you can see the feedback in the GUI of Components, which is kind of handy. But if you flip to one of the other screens, and you change one of these parameters using your MIDI controller, you don't get any visual feedback. So I've got this first knob on the BeatStep assigned to the oscillator wave parameter. You can hear it. As I twiddle this knob, it changes the wave, but you can't see anything happening. There's a school of thought that said you should program your synthesizer with your ears, not with your eyes, but it's quite hard to get a feel on the BeatStep with these endless encoders as to how fast you're even changing the parameters, and whether there's more travel, whether you're doing something stupid or whether you're doing something sensible. So getting some visual feedback seemed like a pretty reasonable request. But unfortunately, the Components GUI doesn't really give you anything in real time. So I had a poke about in the MIDI spec. And what I found out was you can request the current state of the patch using a system exclusive message. So this message down here on the bottom left of this screen is 9 bytes. And if you send that to the circuit, it will send back via MIDI on the USB port the entire patch encoded in its own special format. This is documented in the Circuit Programmer's Reference Guide PDF. It tells you the format of the request, and then it goes into great detail about what all of the information that comes back is. Now, this seems kind of a lot of information, but let's just see it happen first of all. So what I've got here is Pocket MIDI, which just lets us monitor the incoming and outgoing MIDI messages. If I send this system exclusive message, we'll see it appear in the MIDI out section, and then we'll see the response come through to the MIDI in section. So there we can see we sent it the same 9 bytes that I wrote down here, and what's come back is a really long response that contains all the information in the current patch settings. So we don't really want to have to decode this whole massive piece of information to know what's going on. But luckily what I found out was that if you send this message to the circuit and it replies with this while you've got the editor open, it actually updates everything in the GUI. So if, for example, I change the waveform now and then send it again, you'll notice that this has changed from one waveform to another. And it works for sort of all parameters. Maybe if I change interpolate to go down, that's this parameter here, we'll send our system exclusive message, and it's gone down as well. So that gives us some feedback, although I wouldn't call it real-time feedback just yet. What I did was put together a little bit of Python. It's about 3 or 4 lines of Python code, which just sits in a loop sending this system exclusive message over and over again. And it gives the illusion of this GUI updating in real time. So I'll run that now. I'll put the source code for this in a link at the bottom of this video. So you can see here, polling is written out every time we send a message. So it's quite often, it's every 10th of a second. And now if I rotate the waveform, you can see it feeding back very, very quickly on the GUI. It's not perfect. It's not like as good as having an analog synth with hands-on control in front of you, but it's certainly a lot better than just doing it by ear. But you should be able to really enjoy the synth and get the most out of it, rather than clicking around on a piece of software or doing it blind.